Hi, everyone. I'm Carly.
And I'm Sophia.
And this is Away She Goes, a podcast from Girls Who Travel.
Each episode will help you feed your wanderlust with travel tips, stories, inspiration, and more. Away she goes.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Away She Goes. It is my favorite time of the whole year, which is October. It's also October 3rd when this episode is coming out. So happy Mean Girls Day to all of my fellow Mean Girls. Had to throw that in there. So Sophia and I actually have 3 episodes planned for October. This is the first one. And because it's my favorite time of year, we're going to do all Halloween, fall themed stuff. And today we're actually going to talk about the origins of Halloween, which, believe it or not, are in Ireland. So we have a very special guest joining us today, Stuart Mackey. I'm going to allow him to introduce himself, and then we will get on with our episode. Thank you for coming, Stuart.
Hey, thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. My name is Stuart Mackey, as Carly introduced me. What can I say? I am an Irish actor and a content creator who is now known for giving Irish cultural insight online. I made a Welcome to Ireland series and a Irish Mammy series just to give some of our mannerisms. Besides that, I am a graphic designer and a multimedia artist, and I am now a newly indoctrinated cat dad. So that's taken up a large precedence of my time right now, making sure this little guy is fed and watered and just cared for.
Awesome. So what we're going to do today, first, Sophia and I are going to give just some background on Ireland in general. And then we're going to have you talk to us about all things Ireland in general. And then we'll touch on Halloween, how that got started there, and we'll go from there. So Ireland, as of 2022, the population was just over 5 million. It was 5,086,988 people. The official language is English, but Irish Gaelic is spoken by about 40% of the population as either a first or second language.
The capital is obviously Dublin. Sorry, I was just going to take over.
Go for it.
And while many people do not associate it with Ireland, that's where Halloween originates. So let's start with the reasons to visit Ireland.
Reasons to visit Ireland. What are the reasons to get out of bed in the morning?
Yeah, I'm also asking. I've been to Ireland. I think I found reasons.
We have such a natural beauty. I mean, Ireland is renowned for our stunning landscapes, hashtag Emerald Isle, but including the rolling green hills and the rugged coastlines. We have serene lakes, picturesque countrysides. The country is a natural beauty. We have been so devoid of a lot of Europe progression for centuries that what we now keep in our culture is seen as almost ethereal in terms of its beauty. If tourists are seeking outdoor adventure, like, it is an ideal place to come to. We have such a rich history and culture. We are deep and diverse in our history. I mean, we started some of the first cryptoriums. Going back to the Celtic language, it actually, Gaeilge has 3 forms. It has Irish, as Gaeilge, it has Scottish Gaeilge, and it has something called Manx Gaeilge, which is this tiny island called the Isle of Man. And they decided we need our own version because why the heck not? Something else to enjoy would be our historical sites, our music and our festivals, literary legacy, our warm hospitality. We're known as very, very warm people. And then you get to know us and we like emotionally and verbally abuse the hell out of you for fun. Great drinks. We are known for our drinking culture, whiskey and beer, film locations, and just culinary delights. Those are like top reasons I'd say to come to Ireland anyway.
I'm sold. I'll be there in 8 hours.
I can be there in 2.
Yeah, you could get there a lot easier than I could.
Yeah.
What are your favorite places in Ireland to visit out of everything? I know there's a ton. What are your kind of favorite places to visit?
My favorite places in I'd say my home country is literally an hour's drive away. It's a place called Killaloe. It's this small little village on the border of Clare, County Clare, and County Tipperary. And it has this lake called Loch Derg. When I go there, the scenery is captivating, and I love to swim in Loch Derg. It's actually something I love. I developed only during the pandemic. That's something I love to do. I love to be in nature, be around this particular lake. I love to go hiking. Literally, I will wander through any forest, any national park that you give me.
Perfect. And I guess that kind of answers the next question. What are your favorite things to do in Ireland?
My favorite things to do in Ireland are basically go hiking. I love to be in nature. I love to be in the wildlife. We don't have much here in terms of like our animal diversity, but
Well, you do
if
have
I was
dolphins and you do have puffins, so
see, I've never seen a puffin because even for this the size of my island, I have not been to maybe like a quarter of the counties. There are 32 counties in Ireland, and I've only been to about 27. And the puffins, the little guys that they are up like way northwest. But I'm southwest, and I am too lazy to even drive like the hour's drive. And we were just talking earlier about like the 5 hours drive, Carly, from New York City to
Yep,
where you
to
are.
where I live. Yep.
yeah, as
I
a
have
European,
seen-
I can relate to the driving laziness. I'm like that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a real thing.
I have seen puffins. They were in Iceland. That was where I saw them. And then I was
Where
in
in Iceland were you?
I mostly in Reykjavik, and then that was where that my friend and I stayed, and then we kind of did like day trips south to like Vic. That was kind of as far out as we went. We went into the Golden Circle. But
Wow.
we did not do the ring road. If we've already talked, if we ever go back, we would do ring road and do it that way.
I was in Iceland for a month just before the pandemic. Oh my God. It was amazing. I
It's
think
my
the
favorite
highest point
place.
I ever got to was Hekla, like to the very top of this like dormant volcano, and just like the views and the sights.
Mhm.
But then yeah, puffins there. I had to go all the way to Iceland to see a puffin when I could have just like
Yep.
driven an hour up the road.
Yep. And I was just in Maine a few weeks ago with the same friend that I went to Iceland with. And in the part of Maine I was at, they were talking about, oh, you can go on puffin tours. And I was like, we have puffins in Maine? Like, since when? I didn't know that. So I love a good puffin every now and again. So we've touched on this a little bit. What are some typical Irish food and drinks, and what are your favorites?
Irish food and drinks. That's a tough one because I'm not sure which are very generic and which I can give you that are like properly Irish. Okay, so I'd say Irish stew. You got your spuds, you got your veg, you got a piece of meat in there somewhere. If I was to give you something that was very, very Irish, it would be box tea. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Never.
Okay, so box tea is a type of potato pancake. Everything I'm going to give you has potatoes in it. Hashtag stereotype right there. But it's potato, it's ground flour, and it's served as like a side dish to a main course with various toppings. But then we have things like coddle, which is another stew, but it has sausages and leeks and scallions, or we have soda bread. And this goes back now to when we talk about Samhain, we have barnbrack, and then we have here in County Limerick, we have a very famous dish called packet and tripe. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but let's just say because Limerick City is known as the pig town because of our harbor, and we'd like take in all the imports and exports of various meats, whatever was left over was given to whoever needed it. And you may do with what you got ages ago. And we made this very, very potent dish, almost like haggis. If you know what haggis is in Scotland, that's exactly what we have here, packet and tripe.
I was going to say, I know what tripe is. You're not going to fool me. I know what's in there. All right.
Nice. So let's move over to the origins of Halloween.
So, if we were to talk about Halloween, we'd have to talk about the fact that it was one of four seasonal celebrations. So, Halloween would be our harvest festival, and then we'd have something called Beltane, which would be our, I think, our spring. No, Beltane would be mid-May. So Imbolc would be our festival for spring, which was held in February. And then we'd have Lunasa, which is held in summer. But Samhain is celebrated usually, not usually, it's celebrated on October 31st. It is Halloween. No, so from the 31st of October to the 1st of November. And it is the beginning of the winter season. More than anything. And mentioned earlier, it's associated with the thinning of the spiritual veil between our land and the next. And it's to honor and appease the spirits. It's a festival that would evolve into what we now know as Halloween.
And in my research that I was doing, I found that, this originated like 2000 years back. So it's been a long time that this has been going on. How do people celebrate today in Ireland? Like, do people just celebrate Halloween and call it Halloween, or do they still celebrate, in kind of like the Celtic Samhain, traditions? What does it look like present day?
Present day, it does look quite westernized to Halloween because that's what people know. But we do have various festivals where we will have bonfires and offerings, costumes and designs that are specifically directed towards Celtic origination. Usually divination and storytelling would be a big one, and fortune telling. We would have harvest celebrations and just general parties, or what we like to call over here the Ceilidh. So if I was to give you like some amazing places to visit for the Samhain season, let's say through the whole month of October into November, Dracula, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You realize that the author is Irish.
I did not.
I did not.
Bram Stoker was an Irish. He was a dub. So we have a whole festival dedicated to him and basically creating one of the best monsters in fiction in modern day. So we have the Bram Stoker Festival in Dublin. There is a castle down here in Limerick called Bunratty Castle. And there we celebrate whole medieval festivals for Halloween celebrations. Then we have Limerick, the Pigtown Halloween Food and Cultural Festival, where we celebrate Samhain, but also it's heavily influenced by traditional Irish food, should we say, like the food we were talking about earlier. Galway has the Macnas Halloween Parade, which definitely celebrates pagan traditions. And then if we were to go up north to Londonderry, they would have their own impressive Halloween celebrations for the Derry Halloween, which would feature a range including haunted tours, costume parades, and just fireworks. So it's kind of an amalgamation of what we now know today as Halloween and celebrating what was our pagan origins.
That is so cool. And I'll definitely write that list down for myself because it's been on my bucket list since uni, because I had an Irish professor and we had a class with him on Halloween and he handed out candy and told us about the bonfires. And ever since then, it's been on my bucket list. So
there are certain places, small festivals as well, or weekend parties, would I say, that would literally just go full pagan traditions, where you'd literally end up somewhere like the coast at Lahinch Beach or Kilkee, and you'd have bonfires on the beach. You'd all be doing old Irish songs and shillies. It's great.
that sounds really cool.
Now I want to go to Ireland in October.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go, Sophia. All right. So you brought up candy. Do children trick or treat like they do in like the US? Do children go door to door in costumes and ask for candy?
Oh, 100%. Like
Yeah.
if I could at my age right now, like I'd still dress up to go and get free sweets off people.
Yeah, here it's kind of turned into I don't know why or like when it started, but it's turned into like if even like teenagers, people who still are definitely young enough, like if the people at the house perceive that you're too old, making air quotes, too old to trick or treat, they'll like give you a hard time about it. And it's kind of become this thing in the States where if you're too old and too old really is not that old at all, you're kind of shamed from trick or treating. And I'm like, let people go and have fun for one night. It's like, it's definitely turned into something here that's
Do you know the
geared.
reason behind trick or treating?
I feel like I've heard it before and I can't remember.
What have you heard?
I feel like it was oh God, I'm gonna make myself sound like an idiot now. I know that the concept of it was more of a bribe, like give me a treat or else I'll mess with you somehow. And now
Mm.
obviously it's just that people get candy and that, that's what it's evolved into.
It was a case of keeping the appeasing the spirits. When the veil lifted, spirits would come to the mortal realm and try and steal souls or people in general. And what you do is you'd have to try and appease them, but also you'd have to hide from them so they wouldn't steal you or your soul or bring you back. It's almost thinking like the Fae and fairy lands, think Midsummer's Night Dream, the way they steal the child and they leave a changeling in its place. And you'd appease them with candy or you'd appease them with some form of offering. And if they didn't perceive it as good enough, then you get a trick.
Okay.
So the fact we're saying, like, is there an age limit on trick or treating? There shouldn't be, but at the
Right.
same time, it's very much become a adolescent event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here as well. Adults are very much discouraged from joining in on the fun.
Hey, we love to dress up, on Halloween.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I still dress up. I already
Yeah.
know my costume for this year too. I'm already.
What is it? Go on.
Okay, you're gonna laugh, and it's not because we're doing this episode. I love Dairy Girls. I'm gonna dress up as
Which one?
Claire. Claire's my favorite one.
Lovely. Okay. Okay.
And it's not, I already had it in mind. I told somebody about it like a week ago, and they will vouch for me that it was before we did this episode.
How's your dairy accent?
Pretty good, actually. Well, I don't know. You may not think it's very good, but
Go on, give us a lick. It's
okay.
probably
I
better
don't
than
want
mine.
well, what should I? You got to give me a topic or something. I don't know. I mean,
Do you know the scene where they scream, "It was Michelle. It was all Michelle." Yeah. Go on. Give us
it
that
was
scene.
Michelle. It was all Michelle.
Okay, I'll give you a solid 8 out of 10 for that.
Okay, I'm honored. I'm honored.
Don't be. I've the worst Irish accent in the history of Ireland. So
yours is great. And my mom and I watched Dairy Girls, and a few weeks ago we were talking about somebody we didn't like, and my mom texted me and goes, "She's just a wee bitch," and I was like, "Yes, mom, yes."
if
So
you
now
like Dairy Girls, I suggest watching the show Bad Sisters. It's very much Irish humor, but it's a lot darker.
I love dark humor.
Sounds good.
Nice. Okay. You'll like
Yeah.
Bad Sisters.
I will watch Bad Sisters when I get through Dairy Girls. I watch Dairy Girls little by little because there's only 3 seasons and they're so short.
Yeah.
So I have not let myself binge it because I don't want it to end. So I'll watch like an episode a week just to like stretch it out.
You didn't hear from me, but I think they might be doing a reboot in modern day with
Ooh.
a few characters coming back. But you didn't hear that from me. You didn't hear that.
Nothing.
Yeah.
We didn't hear anything.
Nothing. I know what you're talking about. All right. So one other thing I wanted to touch on is jack-o'-lanterns. So carving pumpkins into faces, images. They actually originated from an Irish legend of Stingy Jack. Do you know that story?
I love that story.
All right, let's hear it from your point of view. I have an article on it, but I'd rather hear it from somebody who's heard it more than I have.
So Stingy Jack was an Irishman, and what he did was he was drinking one night, and all of a sudden he has a drinking partner, and they're drinking, they're talking, and Jack can't pay. So he turns to his partner and says, "Do you have any money?" And then he realizes that he's actually been speaking this whole time and drinking with the devil. And Jack says, "Do you know what? You can turn yourself into a coin. Turn yourself into a coin so we can pay for our drink." The devil does. And Jack instantly puts the devil into his pocket. And he walks out, and the devil's like, "Take me out. You can't do this to me." And Jack is like, "Nope, I want a bargain." And the devil goes, "Fine. What do you want?" And Jack says, "I want to live forever." And the devil says, "I will grant you your wish." And I think it goes into any reference to any mortal making a deal with any kind of ethereal or magical entity is that you need to be very specific, because when Jack took the devil out of his pocket, the devil granted him eternal life, but cursed his soul to live in a turnip of all things. And Jack must keep this turnip alit, and he needs to try and go around for eternity and find a way to put his soul back into his body. And for Jack not to enter your house, you would need to light a turnip during the season of Samhain. And then it became westernized when Irish immigrants moved over to America and became pumpkins, because apparently you don't have turnips over there.
Not naturally, I don't think.
No, which is interesting because you have like these amazing you always see them like with the Starbucks, pumpkin spice lattes, these amazing pumpkin patches. I'm like, oh, I wish we had those over here.
Yeah, my friends and I are already planning. I mean, by now, when this comes out, it'll be October. I'm sure we'll already have gone, but we in upstate New York where I live, apples are a big thing too. We have like huge apple orchards, and apples are a big fall staple. So we're already all planning going pumpkin picking, going apple picking, carving pumpkins. We're already planning it.
Nice. What version of Stingy Jack did you have?
The one
Because
that
there
I
are so
have,
many variations.
same thing. I'm looking at it now. And the one that I have says that when Jack died, let's see. So it says if Jack died, the devil wouldn't claim his soul. When he did die, God didn't want him in heaven, and the devil wouldn't allow him into hell. So
he
God
was
thought he was too conniving. The devil made the deal and wouldn't let him in hell. So Jack was sent off into the night with only a burning coal to light his path. He placed the coal inside a carved out turnip and has been roaming the earth ever since.
Yeah.
Similar. All right. Let's talk about our favorite Halloween traditions, because I know I have some. You guys probably have them too. Sophia, what do you like to do on Halloween?
Dress up. That's my favorite thing. It used to be not a big thing in Germany, but I was at a concert in like, I don't know, 2011 or something, 2012. And they were British bands. So they were all about Halloween and dressing up. So that's when I got into the whole dressing up for Halloween thing.
Nice.
I also like to dress up. A couple years ago, it was October of 2020. I didn't tell anybody beforehand what I was going to be. And I showed up to the Halloween party as Carol Baskin with like a stuffed tiger, flower crown, the whole nine. My friend dressed up as Old Greg. Do you guys know who Old Greg is?
No.
Oh, well, okay. Look it up on YouTube if you have a minute. It's some weird, I think it was British. It's some weird like Saturday Night Live kind of like little skit that the guy did. And it's just bizarre. My friend dressed up as Old Greg, and it like brought the house down. It was the best costume of the whole night.
I'm going to look this up and send you my reaction later.
Please do, because it's very bizarre. It's just a very weird little thing. I also actually every Halloween I love Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting for me to learn that Bram Stoker was Irish. Every Halloween I watch like the classic like 1920s like Dracula or 1930s Dracula movie.
As in Nosferatu.
As in Bela Lugosi, like his one. I think it was I don't even know when it was. I'm gonna look it up now.
The one with the very slicked back, the iconic Dracula costume. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's Hungarian. My family's Hungarian.
Oh.
So he's let's see, when was this movie? He was born in 1882. Good Lord. Oh, 1931. There it is. So the 1931 Dracula movie with Bram Stoker or with Bela Lugosi.
Brilliant.
Yep. That's what I like to do on Halloween. What do you like to do on Halloween, Stuart?
If I had a tradition for Halloween, it's relatively new, but I love to go see a screening of the Rocky Horror and dress up as the characters.
Horror. Who do you
That
dress
sounds
up
pretty
as?
fun.
I've dressed up as Frankenfurter. I've dressed up as Rocky, and I've dressed up as Janet. The Janet one got a bit of I look into that and I was like, yeah, it works.
Yeah.
But that's the newest tradition. Other than that, I just love celebrating the dead. And I know that sounds weird, but here in Ireland, we have this thing called keening, which is essentially mourning for a certain amount of time. It's a type of sing song. And I just love celebrating, our loved ones rather than be saddened by their loss during this time of the season, because as we move into the winter months, we're meant to celebrate more than feel upset for the passing of certain people in our lives. If that makes sense. I think I just waffled for a little bit.
No, it does. No, it absolutely does. I think that's, to me, that kind of seems like the point of what it's about, is celebrating, like mourning and giving that respect, but celebrating like the positive of it rather than dwelling. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Celebrating the life, not mourning the loss.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So Stuart, oh, go ahead, Sophia. I'm sorry. I keep cutting you off today. I'm in like rare form.
No worries. I was just going to say, so that's all that we have for this episode. All that's left to do is for Stuart to tell us where we can find him online, where our listeners can find him, and any other projects that you want to tell everyone about.
So you could find me on any social platform under Hey, It's Stuart. I also have the podcast based around mental health and wellness called This Is Stuart. And in terms of certain projects, there are some I am not at this point in time allowed to discuss, but there are very exciting stuff in the works. But I'm currently working on a very dystopian one based around Catholicism called Mob the Trench, which should come out around Halloween, actually. And it's very much in that thread, especially my character, which is very psychotic. I can't wait to share with you.
Sounds perfect. Of course, we'll put the link to your socials into the episode description, so it's easy for everyone to find. So thank you again for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me. I hope you enjoy your Samhain, your Halloween, however you want to celebrate.
That's all for this episode. If you'd like more Away She Goes in your life, make sure to stop by girlswhotravel.org/podcast. That's where you can fill out a form if you're interested in being a guest on the show. You can also write to us at awayshegosgwt@gmail.com or leave us a message on our Google voicemail from any phone or computer at 1-563-503-6323. To follow our adventures, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm at Carly Sees the World. Carly is spelled Carli.
You can also follow me at Sophia AEZ, Sophia with a PH. Away She Goes is part of Girls Who Travel, a community dedicated to radically redefining travel to be inclusive, sustainable, and empowering. You can learn more about GWT, find travel tips and support, shop travel-themed items made by GWT members, and join our Facebook group with nearly 100,000 women all around the world at girlswhotravel.org. We can't wait to connect and explore with you.
Away she goes.